Hello everybody and a warm welcome, and it's myself, Zabi here, and I'll be on your commentary mic once more to take you all through for a new adventure tonight, and it is with OWLS Racing League. It is the final round of the season, round 10 of the 10-round championship, and it's going to be here at Spa. It's a sprint race weekend, so it's a short sprint qualifying, which I believe it's 10 to 12 minutes, which we'll move on to racing, then we'll move on to sprint race, so the 8 laps of racing, and after that, of course, we'll move on to the main race. But just before we get started and have cars out on track, let's have a look at the Drivers' Championship that we are going to be looking at. Having a look at the Drivers' Championship at the moment, the final round, of course, this is all the drivers have, everything they have, they got to do it just right now. And looking at it, there's 3 of them tonight for the championship fight. Anybody could take it, but who is it really going to be? Is it going to be ND, who's on 160 points, only 8 points ahead of Mamba, who's in P2 with 152 points. Then there's G7 in P3 with 144 points. It's 8 points behind the driver ahead of them as well. The rest of the drivers, of course, are within close range. Some of them, especially Viper and Nick in the McLaren and Ferrari, both on 32 points, with Ross in that Red Bull on 32 as well. The other 2 are on 34. Him is on 32. So that could be on. And then looking at the Constructors title, that could be in the reach of drivers as well, and a reach of interesting things. Considering Alpine at the moment 218 points, Racing Bulls with 191, having both only 2 RB drivers, in fact, in the session, along with 2 Alpines. This could be a good chance. Ferrari is in 3rd place, but having only 1 driver, possibly the Drivers' Championship could well be the only place that they could be fighting. So having a look at this one, as we were looking at out on the track, there is drivers out of the track already. And that's the 2 Haas drivers, along with a Kick Sauber and an RB out on track at the moment. And everybody, so pretty much, it's the 2 Haas drivers, and one of them, indeed, yes, one of them is AJ Harper, who's ahead of everybody out on the track at the moment, and that means they'll be starting their lap first. They've just invalidated, but of course, that's as long as that's not done just before the final few corners, they are good to go. There should not be an issue at all. And if you're new around here, make sure to follow and show us the support in the comments. Do let me know how's the audio and video quality as well. Actually, unfortunately, facing some internet issues because of rain at the moment, but hoping the stream would be a smooth and safe and sound and smooth stream at the moment, as we already have a driver, AJ Harper, out on track and starting their flying lap with only 80% of battery in their car remaining. How much can they use it? How much are they going to be using here at Spa? Of course, it's a long track, so you really have to be using it quite precisely and quite managingly, because otherwise you would end up running out of it very early. And already he's over 40% used with 18 to turn 1, and now he's 30%. He just hasn't even gotten to the end of that first sector. That is definitely going to be some things. 31.6, so that's going to be an interesting sector, and we'll find out what is going to be and how good is that overlap. That was going to be interesting choice by the drivers. Some of them going for a set of softs, some of them going for a set of medium tires, possibly just having a set of medium softs maybe for the race, or for later on in the weekend, you know, maybe wanting to go for a good one. And Harper have invalidated their lap, and that means that they're not going to be going anywhere with their lap. What about Crick Wolf? Crick has let the RB of Special through as well, so that definitely means that they're going to be in now. So it's I Am About and Special, both of them in the RBs. I wonder where is Andy, and not quite which one of them is Andy. That's going to be interesting. And that's an interesting one as well. You know, some drivers have different names on Discord, and some have different in game, so that's a little bit hard to judge on. But at the moment we are looking at these lap from Special. At the moment they are in P5, of course, without a lap, though. No driver has got a lap at the moment. It was Harper, but they've invalidated their lap, so the second driver after them is going to be Special 5 to complete their lap here in SQ1 and only sprint qualifying that we're going to have tonight. could be on the way, and just coming around the final corner now, making their way. They've got the finish line to go, and over the line they'll be setting up a benchmark time for everybody else to beat, and that benchmark time is going to be 1:43.9, fastest of them all so far, but of course only driver to put on a lap at the moment. And on that on a set of medium tires, Crick is going to go over the line, but they remember let the RB of Special through. What about the other Haas? Their teammate couldn't do anything. Can they do anything? What about Stream over the line? Is that lap going to be very quick? Not so quick at all. 1:47.6, even on a set of softs, but still not close enough. And there's a Red Bull that's going to be of Jack, just beginning their lap along with Scrappy in that Mercedes as well. The only Mercedes in the session. Mercedes is last in the constructors title as well. But looking at those drivers and those who are fighting for a set of Constructors Championship for Alpine, Soot is currently without a time on board and over the line. That's going to be 1:44.4 from him. Meanwhile, there's a far lap from about and over the line. That's going to be 1:46.1 as well. What a lap from Special. They really seem to be special at the moment, as Soot's time is second, and now Agent goes P3. So any of you watching, if who any of these drivers from the RBs is the championship leader, because one of them RB driver is championship leader, but we don't know their in-game name. It is Andy94, but we of course would be nice to know their championship name. Considering through, we should be moving forward and looking at drivers, others completing their laps as well. Mamba would be starting their flying lap just now. They're coming up currently in second in the championship. I think yes, they're currently in second in the championship, only 8 points behind our championship leader, and they've definitely got a big chance to go for the title as well, and to go for that before he needs a very good lap, a lap that's going to do him very good. And has this lap by Cricky done enough over the line? That's going to be 1:46.8 and only good enough for P5. And third slowest time, anything by Stream at the moment. He should be heading into the pit lane. A driver behind them, is it the RB or is it one of the Red Bulls? It is indeed the RB, along with the Mercedes. There is a Red Bull coming over the line of Jack, and ahead of him is the Mercedes of Scrappy over the line. Mercedes currently find themselves last in the Constructors Championship with only 20 points to their name. Has he got enough for their team? Yes, he has got a very good lap. P3. So is the medium tire better than the soft tire at the moment? Because the top two are on the medium tire. 1:43.920, 1:44.8. That's quite a big difference, and that definitely shows why he's super special in terms of his lap. Scrappy's into P3, then Agent in that Williams is in P4. Over the line, he's going to make contact with the wall, and that might just be compromising his final run if that damage is critical and he needs to repair the front wing. What about I am about at the moment, as we are just going to watch, as we were watching the other drivers. There goes G7, our driver currently in third in the championship, fighting for that title still, and he goes P2 as well, and that's a lap from okay, so that's not a new lap from Special. The lap is still the one he did on the medium tire, but he's just coming out on a set of softs just now. But at the moment, as it stands, looking at this one, Special has got a special time, or a special lap time of the track so far of the qualifying session, with just 4 minutes now remaining in the session. Quite a few of them on a lap, and Mamba's got a very good lap as well, 1:43.9. He's got the lap over the line into P2. J7 and the top three in the championship could well be in that lead of racing, and definitely we will be on our way to be fighting for it and really having a look at things and laps by these drivers. The Red Bull driver Reynolds at the moment in P11, one of the slowest times. What about Scrapey? They should be heading into the pit lane. They indeed have headed into the pit lane, I think. They haven't headed into the pit lane. They went over the line, but not improving. What about Jack? They do improve by over a long few seconds on a lap time. And they're going to move over into P5 with a time of 1:45.0. Still need to make a lot of ground, but has got a decent lap time enough to put them inside the top 5, just ahead of Scrapey, Agent in that Williams, and About in the RB, and Grief in that McLaren, and Cricky complete to top 10. 13 drivers here tonight, and now 2.5 minutes just about remaining to the end of it. There's Avilia, there's a Mercedes, there's a McLaren coming into the pit lane, and there's the other one coming over the line. Are they using different liveries? No, they're indeed using the same chrome livery, the special livery by the red McLaren team. And what about Mathisen? Is he going to be doing a good lap in? Yes, that is going to be a very good lap in from Matt. That should be Matthias. I didn't have this Matthias, but apologies if I am pronouncing anybody's name wrong tonight, because I kind of end up doing that somehow, because of course very first time, so definitely trying to do everything we can in the information we have is all we can do. So far at the moment, one Haas driver we saw couldn't do an early lap earlier on. Both of them don't have a lap at all. Harper doesn't have a lap, and Stream doesn't have a competitive lap at the moment. Some of them are beginning their lap. The Haas drivers are one of them. What about the Alpine drivers? That is the one of them again on the just starting their lap, and nicely done. And look at that, Special is starting a lap right behind Sud, HUTT, and then definitely that's going to Jay, and that's going to allow Special to really get that slipstream, really get that toe from the lap from Jay, and that's obviously going to be allowing him to be doing a better lap at the moment. So far, that could be on the way, and I think we should be seeing the Red Bull driver coming into the pit lane, and that could well be their final lap so far, because they won't be going for another lap. They haven't got enough fuel, and they wouldn't have enough performance in their car as well to do that lap. But has this man got performance in their car at all? Not improving as well. So we're just moving forward and moving towards the drivers that are on a flying lap at the moment and nearest to that finish line, and About is indeed not on a finish line or closer to that finish line or on a flying lap, but Stream is. The two Haas drivers not so competitive time at the moment, still on a set of medium tires from Stream. That's interesting, maybe trying to save a set of tires for the sprint race, of course, maybe trying to get something that would get them a lap, that would get them a bit of performance. Did they go wide there? Though we saw Gravel out on track at the moment, only 30 seconds to go, and anybody that comes over the line will be coming over the line for the very final time. Cricky has got just a few seconds to make it over the line and start their lap. The RB driver might just not have enough time to be starting their lap, but in fact, or will they? Because they're about to make their way around the final bus stop, around the final chicane as well. Just over the line, 10 seconds for them now. 3 Haas off Stream on a set of medium compound tires. We've seen some very good competitive medium compound tire times, and over the line that is going to be P12, and still only a 10th of improvement, and that's going to be Special. Special's going to do a special lap time and go over the line in P1 and take pole here at Spa Sprint. Here in the sprint at Spa, and that is going to be a special lap from Special. 143.22320. Mamba did 143.921, but that was not going to be enough at all. Then G7 came in with a time of 1:44.1. The only two drivers in the 143s, and those are the top two. Then comes Matt in P4. It is Jay in P5 with Jack in P6. Then comes Agent in P7 with Scrapey in P8, Bout in P9 at the moment, still on a flying lap, improving by over 4/10. That could be on the way. Pretty good one. Grief has came over the line. Cricky's retired. Cricky might have just went into the wall and could have crashed, or has he continued on and retired in the session so far? Not quite sure. Why would he quite do that? Or maybe did invalidate their lap, so just decided to retire out of the session at the moment. The AI gets out of About's way, and we're about to find out how good of a time they're going to be posting on a set of medium tires. So interesting. Definitely the soft tires maybe not too good around here, because sunny conditions, and on this game you have to know that tires they warm up a lot. The tires really heat up a lot and really give you the amount of degradation that you don't want on these tires. But one man could be on the way to give us some extraordinary performance. I don't think he could be quick enough anywhere near the top 2, but maybe somewhere near the top 5 or just outside the top 9 of this race so far. Now over the line, improves by 1.4 but doesn't improve enough. What about Stream? He's going to try and do another lap, but that's not going to be enough at all, and he's just going to qualify ahead of one car here for the sprint qualifying, and that is going to be P12 for the Haas driver. And we just come into the end of the sprint qualifying, and what a lap from Special that is. That was really a special lap from them. Over almost 7/10 to the driver in second place. Mamba in P2 needs to fight for his championship, and he knows the challenge of Andy would be on the way, and that's definitely really going to be, he will need a special performance to really cope up with that. Then comes going to be G7 in P3 with Matt in P4. Jay completes the top 5 with Jack, Agent, Scrappy, About and Grief completing the top 10. Then just outside the top 10 are Creaky, Stream and Harper out here. Then it is to us. Now we should be moving on to the sprint race here tonight. Of course, sprint of 8 laps that's going to be 8 laps of racing between these drivers, and some good job done by these drivers. So all of you watching the stream, if you're new around here, make sure to follow, and if you love the work so far, we appreciate a follow, and definitely good to support us in different ways here on Twitch as well, but I'm sure I won't distract you much of the time. And before we move on to the sprint race, let's have a look at the championship once more and one more time before the cars get ready, the drivers get ready to get started out on the track. And for us to have a look at that, and that's going to be Andy on pole, 160 points for them, 8 points lead going into the sprint, and if they win the sprint and with Mamba and G7 behind, it could be still interesting considering everything all around, but I'm sure they'll be on the way. So we just should be waiting for these drivers to set up their cars and choose the correct setups. Of course, the setups should be already on. You can't really change a lot after the qualifying session has ended. But look at that. We are now in for 8 laps of racing. Even hard tire people are starting on, and definitely even it's just 8 laps, but as I said, in this game it's very hard. Tire management, the tire model is super tricky to really nail on, and so definitely you need to know that, you know, it's pretty hard to drive on the soft compound tires, especially in this game, you know, to nail laps on soft tires. I think 8 laps are going to be a lot, so I don't think anybody we'd even see a go over in this race, of course, without a pit stop. So it's interesting, you know, you don't really have to pit in the sprint as well. So definitely, if you start on the soft compound tire, you would be losing out on all those drivers using medium and hard compound tires around you. So drivers around at the moment, only out of the 13 drivers, 4 drivers have chosen to use the set of hard compound tires, and not only using the set of hard compound, but you have to know that you have to warm these tires up over 90 degrees at least to make it work, because even if you're in the 80s, if your tire temperature is in the 80 degrees Celsius mark, it still shows blue. It still shows there is no grip on that tire. You do need a lot of temperature in these tires. Definitely, I think in terms of one thing, you don't have any problem on a set of hards, that you could push a lot. I mean, even on the medium tire, you have to treat it like a soft on as compared to previous games. You know, you have to maintain it. You don't have to overuse it. And then also when it comes to overheating, the hard tire could handle a little bit more pressure, because you know, more degrees in that tire to really grip. So definitely, I think, you know, usually the other tires over 100 degrees start to degrade and really lose grip, and this tire should well be in its best shape when the temperatures are from between 95 to 100 degrees Celsius. As we're just coming to the end of this formation lap, and we should be getting started for the sprint race here at Spa, and 8 laps of racing as are about to begin. Grab your popcorn and sit in front of your screens to enjoy the action here of some great racing. And there we go, we should be getting started as we're waiting for lights to go out and go racing here at the Belgium Grand Prix. It's going to be 5 lights out and we go racing at the Belgium Grand Prix here at Spa. It's going to be a good start for Special as they're going to be on into a low, and what a start by Mamba there. Going into turn 1, they're going to go round the outside and really send it. And that was a brave move from Mamba to turn 1 on a set of medium tyres. Definitely getting a better start as compared to the hard compound tyre and having more grip and traction at the start. Meanwhile, Andy is not going to leave them at all and really run behind them. Just about as they go up through Rouge and ready on. There comes Special, and they're going to make their move round the outside once more. Still could be anybody's game. Meanwhile, G7's there. He could send it on the inside line, and he's going to send it. Both of them are going to collide, and he's going to go wide. He's going to run off. G7's going to really run off. He sent a desperate move, and there's a Williams, or in fact, some Mercedes, and there's the other car. Some other Williams as well, going super wide. The drivers colliding with each other. We're here to do some 8 laps of racing. I believe there's going to be qualifying after this one separately, so this race should be by on its own, but definitely it is important for racing, not only racing but some points as well, especially for the drivers in the top 3 at the moment. Only out of the top those 3 drivers, only one of them started on a set of hards, and there we go. Definitely Mamba was quicker, Mamba was brave, and definitely had more traction and some, you know, confidence in his car at that race start. But now it could be all against him at the moment. Special has taken that lead back to him, and 5/10 the gap it is. And there's G7 in the Alpine right behind them as well at the moment in P3, with Matt in P4 and that McLaren trying to do a good job, and Jay still maintaining and staying inside the top 5 with Jack just outside and behind all the drivers in that top 5, and definitely the DRS now getting enabled up through with that second DRS zone out here on the track. Specials, of course, got the fastest lap for now, but that was only the end of lap 1. We're moving towards lap 2 out of 8 and going through going up through Eau Rouge and ready on now. We should be having drivers fight it out and really unfold the action, and definitely that fight for the race lead and presumably fight for the championship lead as well. This is the final lap, final race. Of course, there's a main race after this one, but there might not be a lot of opportunities for these drivers later on in this race. Meanwhile, looking at the rest of the field at the back, that's going to be Cricky in P10 at the moment, just ahead of Haas of Harper, and Stream, meanwhile, has gained a few positions in P9 at the moment. And just running behind About, who's just behind that McLaren. Ahead of them is Jack, and I think this is the closest that we're going to have. The closest fight between the top 2 and some of the drivers at the back, Creaky and Stream as well. They're going to be fighting each other off. Are you going to see Creaky go for a move at the moment for the final points, for a few points positions? Definitely a few more points. In fact, there should be no points for P9 and 10 at the moment, as we're in the sprint, as there is only the points awarded for the top 8 in this race, and top 8 in the sprint. Are we going to be finding out a move at the moment on the screen? Lap 2 out of 8. There could be a chance for the Ferrari driver to be coming up and overtake the race leader, but no, indeed, he's going to be in big pressure. Indeed, he's going to be in big pressure to be overtaken by G7 at the moment. The Ferrari might have taken a lot of pressure, and on the inside line into the final corner, he's going to send it on the inside line. Both of them are going to run wide, and that's going to allow the McLaren to come behind. That is going to allow the McLaren of Matt to come behind and get ahead of that Ferrari. Mamba's going to lose out, and Mambas has lost out his positions, and G7 has gotten ahead into P2. Meanwhile, Mamba's going to try and come back at them, but this is going to be interesting as Jay is now in as well. This is all falling out now, with Special into the lead over 9/10 the gap, and all of these drivers fighting each other right behind, and Mamba's losing it out. Now he's in pressure from the other Alpine as well. With the DRS enabled, the rear wing opening for the Alpine, there's going to be a good chance to get ahead of that Ferrari, but is he going to be able to do it? Not quite sure. Not quite this time. He doesn't quite do it. Stays patient, and Mamba has lost out that second place, and G2 has gotten back to the leader and even gaining and getting closer to that race leader and getting closer to our race leader at the moment so far, and definitely that could allow him to get closer and on the way to challenge for the lead. Definitely he might be a few points behind our championship leader, but he's not far enough. He's not out of the contention. He definitely is in the contention of the championship, and could well win, could well possibly have a chance at winning, and these two are fighting each other. Meanwhile, Agent has gotten ahead of both of them, I believe, then, because Creaky is now behind Stream. Both of them, I believe, were inside the top 10 for a moment, and definitely these drivers will be fighting each other as well. But looking at this fight between the race leaders, could be on the way, as G7's going to be putting in big pressure on Andy at the moment, and Andy has the championship to think about. He can't be quite be going for reckless moves or anything that could really end their race, and everybody else around the race over him and everybody around him, so needs to quite keep it. Oh, I think he's going to go wide. He's going to go super wide. Sandy's went wide, and that's going to allow G7 to take the race lead. And he now leads the sprint here at Spa. He's taking that race lead at lap 4. And that is going to be problems. And that is indeed going to be an interesting fight. It's now going to be around the outside. Special's going to come back at him. There's going to be drivers right behind as well. Matt is going to be there. It's going to be 3 wide at the end of that right-hander. It's going to be the Ferrari of Mamba. And Mamba comes back into the lead. And back into second place, of course. Leading the pack behind the leader. Meanwhile, Jay just about manages his P5 as well. Meanwhile, drivers at the back, Cricky's losing out positions, has lost out to the Mercedes as well. But the fight between the top 5 there was crazy, as both Alpines are now outside the top 3 and outside the podium positions so far. Lap 4 out of 8, and Special still maintains his lead after losing it into turn 1. Twice he's lost out into turn 1, but does very good to come back at him, and does really good to come back and really get that. And I think Andy is really needing some special performance. Oh, he's going to go wide. Mamba's going to go wide and then go into the gravel. His beast is tied into the gravel. That's definitely going to slow him down. And the opportunity for the McLaren driver opens up. And Matt is going to be on the way to try and go for that second place. That could only give him more points than he has at the moment. And more point speeds, more benefits towards the end of this race weekend, as we are still waiting. The gap within the top 2 is within half a second. Whole field from P1 to P6 is within half a second of each other. They all could be on the way. Hard tyre runner, I think medium tyres now would be starting to feel a little bit off. And Mamba, who is going to be in big pressure now from Matt. Matt is going to be on the attack to Mamba. There's the 2 Alpine drivers behind. Could be on the way to fight each other off, but we're going to see whether Mamba's going to do enough. They don't know about that, but G7's going to do enough to get ahead of his teammates and get back into P5. But is Jay going to be coming back at his teammates so far? Not quite the case at the moment, as we are watching these guys drive towards them. That's pretty much the only overtaking opportunity. But looking at the back of the grid, there could be a chance for Creaky to come back at the house driver just now, as Creaky is going to be on the way to move up into lap 13. Oh, that's going to be side-by-side action between the two. They almost make contact, and Creaky now gets overtaken by Harper as well, and Harper just moves forward into P12 ahead of Creaky. Now looking at the action and looking at the drivers throughout the lap, at the moment we're just getting towards the end pretty much now, towards the end of the Grand Prix. Of course, this is a sprint race. The drivers would be a lot less patient, especially that move from G7, which you saw them having to go for it on the inside line already. So I think sprint probably could be a desperate move. I mean, you never know though. Was that a move to take out the championship leader or something? Could be. And of course, I'm not calling out. I'm not to it, but just watching from experience. So it's going to be interesting. I think these drivers, as I said, a lot impatient in the sprint, but definitely when the main race begins, that's going to be 22 laps of racing between all these drivers. So definitely they'll be a lot more patient in that sprint race. But I'm yet to know that whether the results would be from the sprint race or of the short qualifying session, but of a short qualifying session that will be taking place after this one. At the moment, we just moved up into lap 6 out of 8 now, and moving towards the ending part of the sprint. Meanwhile, About gets ahead of Grief and takes a position ahead of himself, but we might be on our way to watch out Matt get ahead of Mamba. One M getting ahead of the other M, as Andy's still in that race lead. Meanwhile, he's going to try and defend, as Mamba's going to be around the outside, and just about does a very good job. Does Andy there to defend his race lead. Meanwhile, he's only got 8% of battery remaining. Mamba's got over 35%. That could be of good use. That could be of very good use. of Mamba for the race lead, or for anything that he needs it for so far. Oh, he's going to go wide. He's going to run super wide. And that has allowed not only him, Mamba, but also the McLaren went wide as well. That's allowed G7 to get back at them as well. And I think these mistakes are going to be very crucial. This is a sprint, that's okay. I mean, you got one more event after this one, but the main one you're going to be fighting for. And at the moment, as it stands, Special should be gaining 8 more points. And then Mamba getting 7 points. That is going to be still pretty much similar to what it was. I mean, Mamba is going to be completing his points to be 159, and Special's going to move to 168, so that gap is going to be about 9 points between these two at the moment. Still, there's a DRS here at the main straight, moving into lap 7 out of 8 at the moment, and Andy at the moment still leads for over 5 tenths, and Mamba in P2. No overtaking so far between these drivers, but there could well be an overtake from About. In fact, About actually has been overtaken by Grief. Back into P6 is Grief, and drivers at the back are fighting each other as well, so that is interesting to see. The whole field is fighting each other, fighting maybe not all each other, not all in together, not all in one pace, but one by one, or two by the groups of 3 or 4 driving. The top 4 are on their league, in their different league, and still, well, job done by Andy. I think he's leaving about 5 to 8% of battery at the end of that DRS rate, but he's just doing a very good job. You know, he's doing a pretty good job to defend. He's pretty much maintaining the middle of the track for most of it, and then losing out, and that's going to be the McLaren who's losing out to the Alpine, and that G7 is going to move back to the top 3, whereas his championship position as well, and again get back into the top 3 of this race so far. And I think the fight to Mamba could be on the way, because we're seeing Special do some good job and keep their lead to themselves. But Mamba, sure, I mean, they've done a very good job, though. No kudos to them. They've maintained their P2, but not enough in terms of, they got closer to the leader, but just not enough. And he's going to go wide. Mamba's going to run super wide on the exit, and that's going to allow the G7 to get through. The McLaren driver's behind as well, but he's not going to be close enough. Meanwhile, these two are going to be side by side and on the way with each other, and that's going to be Mamba getting back at it once more. For a moment, we could have thought that Mamba's lost that out because of making a mistake, but he came back on the second and got his second place back to himself. Still doesn't want to give up on that. Still wants to stay in the contention, stay in the fight for this one, and make sure everything's all okay and go looking good so far. We're moving into the final lap of the sprint, and we're here with Andy leading the race 8 tenths ahead of our the driver in second place. The gap's going to jump into over 1 second. Meanwhile, he himself is going to be in big pressure on the inside line. G7 could have thought he's going to go for it, but just about shows enough patience and stay behind and not quite go for it in desperation. Meanwhile, some of them are at the end of the straight, the others are making their way, but at the moment only 4 drivers or 5 drivers within 1 second of each other, about within 1 second of Grief, Jay of Jack, and Jack has quite lost out to the others. Matt as well, almost losing out to the top 3 drivers. Top 3 are still in their lead and still in their own league at the moment. I think we've seen these guys make a slight little mistakes. You know, maybe they've ran wide for a little bit, they've beached in the gravel a little bit, a little bit of tire in the gravel, but still recover. They've still done an excellent job to recover and do a job that they need to do so far. And Andy could well be on their way to coming over the line and win the sprint race here at Spa and extend their championship lead. Could still be anybody's game, though. I'm sure he's going to extend his lead by over 9 points, I believe, at the end of this one, if it is 8 points at the end of this one. And that's going to be Special. Andy, our championship leader, is going to come home and take victory here at the sprint at Spa and win the sprint race, extends his championship lead. Mamba then comes in second place with G7 in P3, with Matt in P4. Jay comes home in P5 with Jack in P6, with Bout in P7. Then comes Grief and Agent, along with Scrapey, in completing the top 10, with Stream, Wolf and Harper completing out the whole grid. But it was this man, Andy, our championship leader, gonna extend his lead even further. And what a performance he's done. Excellent job and dominant lap in qualifying as well, and then doing a very good job done. Look at that, those are the points and your results for the sprint. 8 points for Andy, 7 for Mamba, and 6 for G7, and so on. The points will be added. In the moment, 152 points were for Mamba, and 8 points would be 160, and 160 points is going to be 168 and 8 points. So that's interesting, yeah. So 8 points, still 8. He's going to be leading by 8 points. Oh no, he's not going to be leading by 8 points. We're going to be leading by 9 points, as Mamba's taken 7 points to himself. So 8 and 7 in a 9-point lead in the championship. Is still going to keep him in the race lead. He's still going to keep Andy in the lead and in the chance of taking the drivers' championship title to himself. So I wonder, are we going to have another qualifying session or moving straight into the main sprint race? Because I believe I was told. Are we going to have a qualifying session? Indeed, yes. We will be having a qualifying session as now. It's going to be 18 minutes of qualifying, short qualifying it is, of course. So we should be seeing drivers out on track and giving us the action at the moment. It's lost out the session at the moment. We are currently in 18 minutes remaining. We should be seeing drivers come out on track. I mean, they've had 8 laps of racing, so maybe, I mean, it is 18 minutes, so a lot of laps it is in qualifying. So maybe trying to just carry on a little bit, maybe trying to get on and about. It is indeed getting out on track. So it's interesting. I think moving forward, it's interesting to get on what we are about to do, what we are about to find out at the moment at this point, and it's going to be interesting. You know, as I said, that they've done a good lap, so definitely you get tired, you physically get tired, you mentally get tired by the amount of laps you've been doing, or at least the mental pressure that you have, especially while you're racing side by side. And but none of that seems to be working for About, and one of the Alpine drivers and the top 3 finisher in that sprint race, G7, and top 3 in the championship as well. So that's interesting. They've had. Apologies if we're not picking up any other drivers, but you know, coming to the final race, it's more about the drivers that are in the championship, more about, you know, those who are in the top 3 in the championship, and being my very first round, not being very familiar with these guys. So I think that's why I would really prefer, really preferring to focus on the top guys, you know, top 3 guys in the championship and race as well. You know, just giving the fight to them, giving them the limelight and action that they might need. And there we go, we already have cars out on track. Nobody yet is on a flying lap, but we should be having our first driver starting their lap, and that is going to be G7 in the Alpine, and G717 Art in the Alpine has really done the art of racing, and we could be on our way to find things out, to see how good of a lap they're going to be doing. And everybody now out on a set of soft jump out tires, of course. Maybe not, medium's not available for this qualifying, but also you know, trying to probably save tires, not to use a lot of set of soft on that sprint, and also cooler conditions as well. I think, you know, in that sprint quali the conditions were a lot and much much sunny than they are right now, so definitely that's going to be allowing everything to take on so far. But of course, 18 minutes of session, waiting for a few hours, pretty much 15 minutes would count, considering when the drivers start. And that was almost G7 going to be going very wide, and that was going to be a super wide lap for him. That was close so far, and it could have been a lap that could have been invalidated by him, but just keeps it on track, just keeps it within the white lines and keep his lap going. But for how long is that going to be the case? Or has he done the lap fast enough? Has he done the lap that is going to be very fast, or a lap that is not fast at all? And we are moving towards... Are we losing out in speed? Are we losing out in video quality? Do let me know, everybody. We could restart the stream because of the rain. It fluctuates a lot for time being. And over the line, it's going to set up a time, and that's going to be a benchmark of 1:43.6, and that's going to be a very good lap time. Remember that only the top two were the drivers that could move to the 1:43s. Yes, indeed, it is the 1:43s, the only drivers that were into the 1:43s in that sprint race. But there's going to be others on this one, and a chance to move forward, and a chance for a set as that's going to be Agent over the line. 1:46.0 for him. How good is Matt going to be able to do? Remember, he was a driver fighting not fighting for pole, but fighting for the podium in that sprint race for most of the time. And over the line, there could be a chance for him to set up a very competitive time, and indeed he will. Another driver to move up into the 1:43s, and definitely the track temperature and maybe track conditions could have improved as well. 1:43.8 that is going to be, and that could be some now competitive times from all drivers all around. What about Jay? His teammates currently on pole. Can the other Alpine driver get closer? They currently lead the Constructors' Championship, and to get it closer to in the Constructors' fight as well. Other drivers getting their laps in as well, but Jay just about 1:44.4, not very fast, but still enough for him to get over the line. What about Grief? He's going to be coming over the line, the next driver to finish off, and that's going to be 1:46.1, second slowest time of the session so far, with 12 minutes to go still in the session. I think still a lot is remaining in the session. Still a lot could be done by these drivers, and a chance of finishing a race, or not finish the race, but definitely finishing the qualifying session. So for the moment, we are looking after a driver that's going to be on a flying lap, and indeed about has invalidated the lap. So definitely would be looking over and pretty much slow driving. I think just slow driving around to really make the best out of it so far. And J7, of course, into the pit lane as well. Pretty much all of these 7 drivers who have got a time on board should be heading into the pit lane and really heading into the pits for a set of brand new tyres. Meanwhile, the 2 Haas drivers, one of them being on a flying lap at the moment, and definitely not on a flying lap. He must be on a cool down lap at the moment, or in lap at this point. Meanwhile, his teammates, it shows his teammates in the pits, but he's definitely not in the pits at all. One of the McLarens, man, it is over the line, or trying to go over the line. Matt, it is, of course, Matt currently in P2, one of the 2 drivers on inside the 1:43s. What about his teammate Grief for the moment? Grief improving over 4:10s. That could be a good time for him as well. 1:46, at least a good chance to move over into the 1:45s, and a good chance to be competitive. Good chance to be inside the top 5 at least, or inside the top 3. That could give him a good chance to improve and to get better on his qualifying times over the line. And we are about to find out how good is this time going to be from him. 1:44, 1:45.2, and that is going to be 1:8.10 improved on his previous time. That's about 1:45.2 from Grief, and it's just about Griefed enough into P4 and within good reach of his teammate in terms of positions. Not a lot by time, but still by positions, and we're going to be seeing one of the RB drivers on a flying lap at the moment, but he's out of fuel, and that surely means that he's going to be heading into the pit lane as well. I hope you all watching are enjoying the action so far. If you're new around here, make sure to follow here on Twitch as well as on my Zabi on Instagram, ZabiOnMic, and check out different platforms that we are on. As currently we're just waiting about 9.5 minutes at this point in the session so far, and we could be on the way to look up after drivers who are going to be on the flying lap or on a flying lap at the moment. What about the Mercedes of Scrappy is going to be at the moment beginning their flying lap, and one of the Haas drivers just going to move into P7, and that's going to be a half, but just about third slowest time so far, just out of their teammates. They possibly could just be in their own league of their own at the moment so far, so that could be interesting, and that is a thing to look at. Of course, at sprint weekend, so I think that's definitely a lot of a lot of extra stuff that happens during a sprint weekend. The sprint qualifying, then race, then sprint race, then quali, then the race qualifying, then race itself happens, and it's moreover like that. Apologies, guys. I've already done one race today, so if you think I probably low on energy, which I myself feel a little bit right now, because usually I'm not up to my usual standards because of having done a race early on in the day. Meanwhile, there we go, as we are having our championship leader put a time on board. He's gonna be slower. He's gonna be slower than the top two, and he's out of fuel as well, so that's going to be interesting to know whether how he's going to make it over the line or make it to the end of the lap to do a good one. And are we going to see Cricky do a lap improving, at least an improvement one on his previous one, but is that good enough? Not at all. Still the slowest time of them all so far. One of the Alpine drivers looking after some improvement at the moment. You can't quite get it, but are you going to be getting it? Harper at the moment, second down on his previous time at the end of that middle sector. What about Scrape? He hasn't got a time on board. He's definitely got a good opportunity to do a very competitive time over the line, and that's going to be indeed a very competitive time, 1:44.3, and that's going to put him over the line in P4, and a top 5 could well be on the way here in qualifying for the Mercedes. We're having times, we're having cars out on track, and we're going to have drivers out on track putting lap times, and Mamba's going to do it once more. 1:43.9 is still just about actually a similar time to his one in the sprint qualifying. Definitely needs an improvement. I'm sure he's going to have an improvement because it's the only first run, and definitely when all the drivers are out on their final runs, on their final qualifying laps, that's when we're going to see these drivers post their best lap times. That's going to be the time we're going to be seeing them post a time better than anybody else. And meanwhile, we're watching some other drivers. Meanwhile, we're watching the Ferrari of Mamba. Jay has done a time and supporting his teammate, putting that Alpine team and an Alpine front row lockout to go into that second place. And on the front row, 1:43.761 is the time that everybody's got to beat, and that is going to be a very good time for so far, with only 4 drivers in that 1:43 time of 1:43 so far. And at the moment, looking at things, is going to go wide. Of course, there is a lot, and only 5 minutes now remain, and it's a whole long track around Spa. You at least need about 4, probably 3.5 or 4 minutes to have enough time to go over the line. If you want to do 2 laps in, or even a single lap if you want, you should be out of the garage by 4 or 3.5 minutes when it's remaining, because if you're going to get out on time, but you might not reach the checkered flag in time, and could end up ruining your lap, which then means that you wouldn't have time to do the final lap in time as it stands, because it's a long track. It's a huge track around Spa. I mean, you know, it's even in real life, they said, you know, it's a track so long that, you know, it could be raining in one part of the track, but there would not be any rain on the second part of the track, almost like different parts of a city or different parts of a town. So that's how competitive, that's how long the circuit is, and that's why, you know, it is 50% racing, but only 22 laps there are. But distance, of course, going to be similar or pretty much same that usually is at any track with 50% of racing, as we are watching at the moment. One McLaren, or in fact both the McLarens, on a outlap at the moment. So currently looking after the Red Bull of Jack is still in P6 at the moment, and not on a flying lap at the moment, just doing a cool down lap, charging the batteries and having the tires ready for that final run. Might have a Williams of Agent, and we indeed have a Williams of Agent over the line, about to wait for him to come over the line and do a time that could be very competitive. He needs the Red Bull to get out of the way. The Red Bull driver does get out of the way of the Williams, and over the line he's going to go and try to come and finish over the line. Fast posted time that's going to be better than his previous one. It sure is, over 7.3 tenths quicker than he was before, but still only good enough for P9. The competitive lap times are a very good job done by these drivers. What about at the moment? He's just going to be beginning his flying lap at the moment. Meanwhile, his teammate Andy's going to be starting as well. The driver at the moment on a flying lap at the moment is going to be indeed the Haas, actually. The Haas of Stream at the moment. Second slowest time, just ahead of Cricky, who's 147.4, 147.7, 146.7. Is the time from Stream. He went super wide there. He went super wide. He ran quite wide. Not quite sure why he hasn't got the lap invalidated, but he's going to slow down. He's going to slow down to let other cars pass, and that definitely explains that he was not going to be quick enough, and not really a quick lap that was from him, and that would be the reason that he's let others pass. What about Grief then? Is he doing a good job enough? He needs minimum 9 tenths to move further and to change position from his from P8 to even move to P7. He needs minimum 9 tenths on his previous time. Can he quite get that though? Over the line he cannot. He can only get about 1.8 tenths, and he's going to stay in P8. Was P8, is going to stay in P8 and have to go upon so far for this one. The Haas driver is going to come over the line, but not improving at all. Are we going to be seeing Mamba improving? No, not at all as well. The Williams is not on a flying lap. What about the McLaren of Matt? And indeed, Matt is on a lap, and he's currently in P3. He needs to do just about a little bit of a time to go even on pole. This is going to be a very competitive lap from the McLaren driver on that front row, on that second row of the grid. He's only one of the few drivers who's a time in 1:43s, and he's going to go fastest of them all and set a time for pole position, 1:43.656, and he's done it. Has Matthias, and he's going to take pole here at Spa for time being though. Meanwhile, others are improving, others are on their lap, do not forget that. So we could be seeing anybody taking that still, and we could. Oh, he's going to go wide. Andy's going to go super wide, and that might be qualifying over for Andy, and he's probably going to have to retire there as he's ran super wide on the exit of turn 1 and go on the gravel, and he's going to have to retire the track and really lose it all. Jay is in the grass as well. All of them are in the grass, unless we're watching one man. G7 could do something about it. He's top 3 in the championship, top 2 at the moment on the board, and that is going to be P1 for G7 Art. He's going to take pole by a mile, 1:43.235, over 4 tenths quicker than Matthias. Anybody else on the way to improve could be a shock to the world, but you never know, and you never gotta deny anybody. No improvements from the Mercedes. What about the Red Bull? Just going to be taking that checkered flag. And that, ladies and gentlemen, would be the final few moments. Of course, Matthias had taken pole, but was denied by G7, and we should be coming over the line. And Mamba, he's going to deny Matthias the front row as well, and Mamba's going to move over on to that front row in P2, just behind G7. And what a lap from G7 and from Mamba. That was a very good lap indeed. And now it is reverse. P3 the championship is P1, P2 is in P2, and P3, the P1 of the championship is P4. So that is going to be now things to look at. There's drivers out on track, but no, nobody is on a flying lap and out on the track. It's the McLaren. He's currently in the middle of the track, out of nowhere as well. Meanwhile, G7 has done a very good job, and definitely the times improved. Improved drastically in terms of from sprint qualifying. They really did improve, and now we should be moving on to the racing main race and on the Grand Prix. This should be great fun as well. Yeah, there we go. He's going to head into the pit lane. Doesn't take checkered flag so far. So it's going to be interesting, and I think there should be great fun. The race is going to be on in a few moments now, and it should be nothing but some great fun by these drivers. And definitely went super wide as well, so hoping that everything's all okay, and we should be seeing guys out here. And let's have a look at the qualifying results here. That is G7. And thank you so much for that follow. Really appreciate that, and really appreciate the support so far. G7 on pole only by 59 milliseconds, 59 hundredths of a second ahead of Mamba on that front row, and that was Matthias in P3, with just ahead of Andy, our championship leader. Not happy with somebody in qualifying at the moment, of course. We saw them run super wide on into turn 1 and go into that runoff area, which is all gravel, so they could not rejoin. And of course, if you run off on a fast lap, your lap is ruined anyways. So we now should be having some not sure if there is any break, but we should be getting back for the Grand Prix as the drivers get ready up and get to really ready to go racing. Okay, so we're just waiting. At the moment, we don't see cars on track, but of course, Jared's will be getting ready and getting his setups ready as well. We're just waiting to know, and we are already out on track. No break before this one, and let's just enjoy a moment of silence for me to take a little bit of catch a little bit of a breath as well, which I haven't done so since the start of the stream. So let me have that as well, and we'll just pick it up when we are getting started for the race and we're ready for lights out. So just let's have a look at the tires. Only one driver on a set of hard compound tire, everybody else on a set of mediums. And thank you so much for one more follow, and that really helps. Actually, thank you so much to everybody who's really contributed to my followers till date. Just really appreciate all of you today. I hope you all are enjoying the action, and would love to hear all of your feedback after the race, and after everybody has watched that. And as I was saying, I need to catch a break before the race starts, but already I keep talking, but I think we should enjoy a little moment of silence. The strategies could be a 2-stop strategy or a 3-stop strategy. It could be interesting, depending on if we get any safety cars or not. I think knowing Spa, it's not a track that has a lot of walls closer, but I think side-by-side action or even curves around here, at least on previous year's games, are pretty odd that could spin you around. So a good chance of a safety car, at least one safety car as well. And there we go, we are about to get started, and we are about to go underway for the final race of the season here at OWLS Racing League Racing, and on F1 25 Season 4. Round 10 out of 10, and it is the final round here at Spa, followed by a sprint race. We now move on to the main 22 laps of racing, as it's going to be G7 here on pole, with Mamba second on the race and in the championship as well. It's going to be a nice start for G7, a good start for Mamba as well. Mamba now, and look at that, Mamba early on overtook in that sprint Andy. He overtook Andy in that sprint round the outside, and he's now been covered off by G7. G7 has got a very good start covering off Mamba at the race start. That's Mamba's going to be P2 with Matthias maintaining P3 with Special right behind. Then comes Jay in P5, followed by Jack and Agent, and there's going to be a Haas driver going super wide, and there was going to be the other Haas going as well, and I think that's a Mercedes off Scrappy, hitting the wall and has collided with one of them at least, or having to back out there. He hasn't got a front wing unplayed, and that is missing for him. At the back, that's going to be Cricky and Stream having to fight each other once more. They have fought each other since the sprint long. It is indeed Harper and Cricky at the moment, and that's going to be Jack and Agent fighting each other off. It's going to be the Williams and some of the drivers. Meanwhile, Matthias is going to be on his way, and Matthias is going to be overtaking the Ferrari of Mamba. Meanwhile, Andy has done that already. Andy currently going into this race leads the championship by 9 points, and so far he was 6 points behind our championship leader going into the 16 points behind going into the lead was G7. He at the moment has about 6 points. He has 150 points as compared to 158, so 18 points, 168, so 18 points to Andy's 18 points at the moment. And at the moment he needs to win, and as long as an 88, he doesn't need to score. Andy shouldn't score, is going to be the only way for G7 to win. But look at that, Andy's got a penalty, and he's got a 3-second time penalty. I mean, probably G7, as long as he could stay ahead of Andy, could well be the only way that could give him a fight. Meanwhile, at the moment, there's going to be Mamba losing out position to others, and that was a little bit of a lag. Not quite sure why it was that, but Mamba's now going to be in big pressure from the other Alpine as well. Jay is going to be putting up all that pressure on the Ferrari of Mamba and give him a good fight going up through Eau Rouge, and ready on even with the help of that DRS. Of course, that rear wing is going to be opening for only one car, and that is going to be the Alpine, which is going to be having that. So that is going to positions and ahead of the other Alpine of Jay, and I think Jason he's going to be on the way as well to be really challenging the Ferrari of Mamba at the moment. Jack in P6 at the moment, only driver on the hards who started on the hards. Scrappy is on the hards, but he started on a set of medium compound tires and only pitted for a set of softs, which when he needed to. And then it's going to be Agent in P7 with Stream in P8, by About in P9. And this is a nice little fight between Creaky, Harper and Grief for P10. Final point position could be on, but at the moment with the championship on the line, with the championship at the moment, pretty much nobody knows who's going to be taking that. Stronger chances are off Andy, but you never know, because one mistake from Andy, and on the inside line, G7's going to send it on the inside. He saw the door open and he's going to take the opportunity to go for it, and now it's going to be good, opening a good opportunity for Special there, because the DRS now is going to be on the RB, and that's going to allow Andy to go for it once more. And I think indeed it was a nice move, but I think a little bit more patience could have been good from G7 there, because even if he didn't overtake there in the turn 1, he could have had an opportunity to overtake around here at the DRS, and that just could have been a better one, but he didn't quite take it. And I think, oh, that's going to be good now. That's going to be a fight and a chance for Mamba to get through, and he's going to be through, and Matthias as well. Matthias going to lose out to Mamba, and Mamba is now through into P3, getting back to the podium positions, and back to this race, back to the top 3 of this race, and a chance at least a place that he wants to be at the end of this one, and to have a chance probably just come stronger into next season, which of course will be starting on 30th of August. We're into lap 3 already out of 22, and racing action has been interesting. And meanwhile, interesting action is going to be on Creaky. He's going to be on the outside trying to fight the other RB there, along with the other McLaren, and a Haas there as well. Meanwhile, the McLaren of Grief is going to go around the outside of Creaky. Can't quite get it there. That was a little bit closer between the two, but still not close enough. But they're going to be side by side. Is it going to be the McLaren of Grief, or is it going to be the Creaky's Sauber there? This one's going to be side by side. The action's going to be on between the two, and that is going to be still wheel-to-wheel racing between the two. Is it going to be the McLarens, or going to be the Sauber around the outside? He just about overtakes and takes that place. Does the McLaren of Grief, does take that 10th place from Creaky, and does that final bonus position score. They're going to go wide, and they're going to collide. That was About and Grief going side by side. I'm not quite sure what happened there, because Grief was there side by side, and About maybe just coming back on the track and turning left there has definitely went against them, as both of them have spun. Meanwhile, G7 is going to be with the opportunity to overtake our race leader and get back into the lead of the race here at Spa. And now Mamba's going to be with an opportunity as well on the inside line. They're going to be side by side, but just not enough to quite go for it so far, as Special is just going to be able to maintain his position just like every other race. Meanwhile, the bottom positions are going to be fighting for each other, and now they collided with each other, and now they're on the verge to fight each other off at this point so far. Grief is still going to be fighting the RB, and definitely one of the fight drivers at least won't be happy with one another, and that always happens, of course, when you collide, when you do all the hard work, and it's ruined by all ruined, and nothing remains because of somebody else's mistake. So definitely that's going to be on the case, and Creaky has got a 3-second time penalty. Remember, Specials got a 3-second time penalty as well, and 1.3 seconds. The gap now between the two, but just about it's going to be within 1 second, and that is going to give some DRS to Andy, because otherwise it would have been pretty hard for him to actually get closer to the Alpine. But I think actually he might be running a different setup. Of course, setups matter as well. You know, some drivers going to use different setup than the other, and Mamba at the moment just going to stay behind that McLaren of Matthias and keep it to himself so far. Are we going to see anything or any action at the bottom of the field as it stands? We are moving forward with Creaky's back into P9, but he's got a time penalty. Fighting each other off. Meanwhile, About is into the pit lane, pray for a set of hard compound tire and some repairs as well. Meanwhile, we're going to be watching these guys fight it out. It's going to be Andy once more on a chance on the Alpine, and around the outside is going to get that race laid back. Meanwhile, these are going to be side by side one more time, but it was just not going to be enough. Matthias for a moment could have thought to let the Ferrari pass, but he knows he doesn't have to let him pass. And also remember, Special as a penalty. Remember that is a 3-second time penalty along with Creaky and Grief, but Special's got a penalty, so he might not be taking that victory as long as nobody else gets the penalty, or at least somebody around him and around the outside. Mamba's going to go for it now. This one's going to be side by side, and he's going to lose it now. In fact, he's lost it. He hasn't quite went for it, but the Alpine of Jay has went for it, and he's going to lose it out and get out of the top 4 as well, and into P5 now. Could be on the way. The top 2 are still going to be fighting each other off, and I think G7 at least knows that he's got a good chance of winning here tonight, because that 2-second penalty, 3-second time penalty for Andy's going to be very handy for G7. I think in terms of at least getting that race win could be on the way. It depends rather how close they finish within of each other, because if we see the lead is still a lot, the lead is still too much in terms of 18-point lead from G7 and over 9 points lead from Mamba to have a chance in that championship. But I think it's going to be on the drivers already in. We're seeing drivers into the pits then, most of them going on a set of hard tires, so definitely maybe going for a 2-stop strategy at least, and that's going to be hards off and mediums on, or in fact mediums on, mediums off, mediums on, maybe going for a medium hard or a medium soft strategy for this one, because as I said, I think tire management in this game is a lot harder than it has ever been in the previous year's games. Meanwhile, we're going to see drivers closer to each other once more at this point in time of the track, and that is at least the top 4 are still pretty much within 1 second of each other. Mamba's a little bit behind these guys. I mean, for a moment we could have thought Mamba's going to be on the way. Mamba is going to be pretty much going for the fight. He almost went for pole as well. Very good job he's done, but they're both bit down. Both the faster driver in qualifying, G7 took pole, is in P2, and P2 Mamba, who's in P2, is in P4 at the moment. Meanwhile, Harper's going to be running. Oh, he's losing positions. Harper's losing position. He might have spun or maybe collided with somebody else. 5 laps on those medium tires, maybe no grip to him at all, and that could be going all against him in terms of not feeling any grip on his tires as well. And I think we should be now seeing, I don't think the leaders are going to pit that early, because just somehow, no disrespect to everybody racing, but then the leaders just seem to have, somehow seem to have a better judgment or better strategies, at least than those at the back. Of course, experience comes in handy as well. Those who's leading, of course, have more experience, have more performance chances, and could be on the way. Meanwhile, one more agent gets a penalty as well, and now Matthias could be on the way, and Matthias has a proper opportunity to go into second place. He's ever closer, he's ever been to G7 there, but can he go on the inside line? No, he cannot, and he's backed off of it, but the Alpine's going to go super wide. That might allow the McLaren to get closer, but still not going to be close enough to be going for that move. These two are not going to be close enough as well. I think 6/10, but unless it's a drastic gain, unless it's like the slipstream, ERS, DRS all together, I think having over 6/10 on the middle of the straight, it's not even going to be enough. But even after that straight, there might be a chance for the Alpine to go for it for a moment. We could have thought it's going to go for it, but not this time. Meanwhile, Agent's going for all of it so far. P8 to 10 all have a penalty. Meanwhile, Jay has went for it just now there, as we switch for other drivers, as they have went for that move in a P6 so far, just behind Jack now. Jack in that Red Bull has kind of been quiet, but he's catching up. He's now caught up to Mamba, and he's catching up to the medium tire runners, because now, let me tell you what, the medium tires are going to be losing their grip. They're going to lose the traction they had to start, and the advantage over the hard compound tire, and definitely the hard tire runner could go minimum 4 to 5 more laps on that tire. So definitely considering what the medium tire runners do, and they're coming into the pits already. The top 2 are into the pit lane. Mamba's going to continue on, maybe try and do an overcut, or at least try and do something different from the top 2 of this race. But at least J7 and Andy are going to be going into the pits. What tires are going to be on for the Alpine? That's going to be a set of hards. What about Andy as well? That's going to be a set of hards as well. So bidding on lap 8, I think, possibly going to the end now. you know, doing over 7 laps on those mediums. Now should be at least able to do 10, then about 14 laps on a set of hard tires. I think trying to have enough grip, or at least try and make a one-stop strategy work. I think that's pretty much really the case. Otherwise, you might have to pit on early on a set of hard tires, and there could be an opportunity for Andy already. He's out of the pit lane and already overtaking the drivers who have not yet pitted, or in fact, Jay has pitted, and they're almost going to be collided. They're going to be side by side. They do touch wheels. Are they going to be doing it once more? They will. They're going to bang wheels one more time, but just about enough does Andy to keep it on track. And in fact, Jay's going to get out of his teammate's way, and that was some good scrape given to Andy by Jay there, because Jay definitely going to be giving a good opportunity, you know, to stop Andy for a little bit of a moment and for as long as he can, to allow his teammate to get closer and to allow for him to be there and to have an opportunity to go at him for that race lead. And I think that definitely is going to be opening all doors now. We're 8 laps in out of 22. 8 laps that we did for the sprint. So we've now done the sprint twice, and going to do it pretty much one more time. And then 6 laps after that. So 3 sprint races and then 6 laps. It's interesting, but obviously that just for the sake of it, it means nothing at the moment. Lap 9, moving into lap 9, Matthias and Mamba, both of them continue on so far, along with Jake, who's on a set of hard tyres, currently having done 8 laps on them. And now Andy, G7, J, all three of them are going to be the new top 3 as soon as the drivers ahead pit. We're going to look at the gap between the drivers. The gap to the leader is at the moment over 20 seconds is of P7, so that's going to be a long way back, and Mamba might try and have a go for that race lead. No, he will not. Meanwhile, Jay has been overtaken. Not only him, but his teammate also has been overtaken by Special, but Special's going to be in big pressure now with the DRS of G7 there. They're going to be side by side. Who's going to be late on the brakes? Already G7's went for it and has made the move stick so far, even before the braking zone and before the brake opportunity has allowed G7 to go through and make this one done. Lap 9 out of 22 so far. The top 3 have not yet pitted in the race. Meanwhile, P4 to P6 have pitted. Others, Agent along with Stream, Scrappy, and everybody pretty much has pitted, I believe, apart from the top 3. Indeed, yes, indeed, they have. Everybody has done 1 stop at least. You never know. I think strategy looking like a 2-stop race for some of them, absolutely, because at least the ones who've pitted early on, so could be interesting moving forward. You never know though, but I think there's going to be a good opportunity for everybody to get through. Meanwhile, Jake might be having an opportunity to go through on Mamba and overtake him here so far, and I think continuing on a set of hard tires, giving a good opportunity to others. And Jake's going to continue on. The 2 others are going to be pitting. Matthias and Mamba have decided to pit and stay out for time. Yes, Matthias and Mamba have decided to pit, and Jack is going to be pitting. Jack is going to be staying out so far. Meanwhile, J7 is going to be pitting a fastest lap so far, and he, remember, not only leads, but Andy's got a 3-second time penalty, so that also allows Jay to be on the podium as well. Might just knock off Andy off the podium, and if that really happens, that could be exciting and definitely threatening to the championship of our leader as well. Around the outside now, already before the braking zone, but just about does enough. Does G7 to defend his position on the inside line and just keeps it within the tracks as well to keep himself ahead of Andy there and just maintain his net lead so far. As soon as Jack pits, he's going to be out of the way, and the leader is going to be G7 as long as he maintains that and keeps it to himself. Oh, yep, now Mamba has got a time penalty as well. He's on a set of hard tyres, possibly going to the end now, but he's got a penalty as well. So we haven't got at least we haven't got a safety car so far, which I said at least there was going to be one. But drivers, I mean, you have to say, no drivers out of the race, you know. Sure, maybe they've had some spins, they've had some contacts as well, but nobody's out. So the driving standard is pretty good, and I'll have to say better than expected at least, because you know, you have to, these much drivers racing, you sometimes do see drivers crash as well. I mean, it depends on the race and on the day as well, but let me remind you, actually one of the races I did a few weeks ago for the other leagues was only 8 drivers started, and in the end just 3 finished 6 DNS. But of course, I mean, it matters. A narrower track as well. Spa is a wider track, allowing very good wheel-to-wheel action as well, and there could be an opportunity. And round the outside now, is G7 going to be able to defend his position this time around? Yes, we will be. What a brave braking that was from G7 in the Alpine, because he just trusted his car, trusted his guts, and went for it, because all time and every time Special really does do that special move around the outside, but he just gets denied by G7's late braking move and gets himself in, still staying in P2 and maintaining that second place. I mean, he wants to go for that race lead. He not only wants to go for that, but he also wants to, you know, win this race. He needs to go into the lead and then do a job super enough to pull a gap over 3 seconds, which I think at least how good these top 3 drivers are doing might not be the one for tonight, because the grid is decently competitive. I think the grid is competitive in a way, you know, like I do a lot of leagues around the world, so you know, if the grid is competitive in a way, you know, maybe drivers aren't, you know, everybody isn't as fast as, or everybody isn't too, you know, compatible with leaders, or you know nobody's, you know, having the exact same pace, but then not, but at least, yeah, but there is like few drivers, you know, there is few drivers for each category, you know, there is always Formula 1, Formula A, Formula B, so in terms of that there is multiple drivers of each category in terms of that. We've been watching the top 2 lap after lap fight it here at this straight. We're going to now fight Mappa and Matthias, or Mamba and Matthias fight for it, as Mamba is going to go round the outside and finally make the move to get himself at least back into the top 4, but he's got a 3 second time penalty that is going to deny him at least the position he's currently in, unless he makes up over 3 seconds on the car behind, and G7 still maintains that lead. That is incredible driving from G7 there against the driver, a championship leader, Andy. I mean, of course, G7's top 3 in the championship as well, and definitely he's not there. He's not there without any reason. Definitely, there is always reasons for it, and that explains it. I think even if he doesn't win it this season, I think there's always a next season. I think this is going to be interesting, because Mamba, I mean, of course, it depends from track to track. You know, which driver has a favorite track, or what track does a driver have as their favorite. But Mamba, in terms of qualifying performance, he did decent in both qualifying sessions. He was on the front row in P2, but just about in the races, just things probably did not go his way as well, and I think that it allowed him to really fall back, but then give an opportunity to recover back into this race. He might try and go for it into turn 1. He's going to send it on the inside line. They might just die and about collide, but no. Jay's going to give him a lot of space. That is very good racing between the two. And now again, Mamba's going to back out of it, and he's going to have that, try and get that DRS, because that rear wing is always very crucial, especially around that straight. And he's now got an opportunity to go into the top 3 and get ahead of the Alpine already, even before that DRS has been activated. Mamba's on it, and he's going to be on his way to be taking that second place, third place ahead of Matthias. Oh, that was going to be very close, ahead of Jay and Matthias. Matthias has now overtaken Jay as well. Meanwhile, Agent gets another time penalty so far. Looking at penalties, oh, Agent's got 9 seconds of time penalties. Harper has got 6 seconds. Agent's got 9 seconds of time penalties. So looking at others in this race so far, Harper's currently in P13 and last of of the cars in this session, with Scrappy in P12 just outside the points, along with Cracky in P11, with Agent in P10, but he's got multiple penalties, so that is at least going to promote, should promote Cracky, as long as he doesn't have 9 seconds of penalties. He has only 3 seconds, so that indeed should be able to promote Cracky if he's able to come within 5 seconds. He's got 3 seconds so he's got 9 seconds as Agent, so they might just be able to promote him. Meanwhile, About is in P9, along with Stream in P8, with Grief in P7. Pretty much running on their own, all these drivers, so pretty much apart from the two at the bottom, About and Agent, everybody closer to each other. Grief in P7 with Jake in P6, just behind. He's in P just behind now, and Jay's going to come into the pits. Jay is now coming into the pits. I wonder if that is done. He's done for the day on those hard compound tires and going for a set of medium tires and making his two-stop strategy work out. Or there is something, and there we go. So just maybe trying to make the two-stop strategy work out there, because he's going on for a set of for a set of hard tires, but trying to still maintain that. And look at that. 1.6 seconds the gap between the top two, and remember, Mamba's got a 3-second time penalty as well. You know, this could be interesting because G7 is currently he's going to be having about 12 points, right? He's going to be having 12 points. He's just still going to be taking that championship by 5 points, even if he does finish outside the points in P4. He needs to finish outside the top 5 and pretty much towards the very bottom back of the grid for anybody else to have a chance. Meanwhile, we're about to find out who's going to be getting ahead of out of these two. Harper is closer to About, and About is going to try and defend all he can, but on his way so far, just ahead of that Haas. But for how long, or for any moment, is he going to be able to get through? That is only the case of time. That is only performance. Time will tell, as we're lap 15 out of 22, and now not a lot of laps remain to the end, as Harper's going to go super wide. That is going to allow About to get closer and About to be around there. Meanwhile, Jack is now in the pits as well. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, these drivers done 7 laps on soft tire, the medium tire, the hard tires, the top 2 have. So possibly they would be going for a two-stop strategy, but depending whether the drivers around, what the drivers around them do, because Jack has went for it. He went for a set of hard tires at this point, having done no laps. Having only a few laps on a set of medium tires. Maybe the medium tires not feeling good, because maybe overheating could be the case as well, because track conditions are not any cooler at all since the start of the race. Pretty much similar, I think, maybe a little slightly cooler, but similar to what it was the start of it, and has stayed dry throughout. Meanwhile, we're going to have drivers Cricky into the pits along with Harper as well. Meanwhile, Jay has got a penalty as well. Now Jay has got a 3-second time penalty as well that might allow Matthias to be closer, and if he is going to be within 3 seconds of Mandy and Mamba, just could well be able to finish in P2. Meanwhile, these guys are in the race leaderism as well, so now it's a question of do they want to go for a set of hards or for a set of medium compound tires? That's going to be interesting. Meanwhile, Mamba, I keep saying Mamba, apologies about that, but Mamba, I shall say, is in P1 at the moment. Continuing on, so did Matthias, but these two have went for a set of hard compound tires, and full push to the end is going to be between these two. Special performance of Andy, and G7 is required to give us the championship battle here. Andy's got a 3-second time penalty, G7 has not, and I think 6 lap on these hard tires. It's going to be a question of whether do they want to continue on, or do they want to pit, or do they want to be talking about going to the end of this race. It's going to be interesting. Meanwhile, Grief is going to be in the pits as well, going into the pits and coming out now on a set of hard compound tires. Jake has done a very good job. I mean, Agents have done a decent as well, along with Gree for all these drivers, but they've all got a penalty. I mean, at the moment, Jake hasn't got a penalty. He's been, you know, sometime in the race within the top 5, top 4, but mostly out of it. So I think maintaining P6 so far, I think probably the best chance for him, but 1.6 seconds to the car ahead, and he could well be promoted. At least inside the top 5 and position ahead of Jay if he stays within 3 seconds, or if he does enough, he should be able to gain on others and get a chance at the podium as well, but that is going to be time telling us so far now. They're still going to be continuing on, maybe going for it to the end, maybe a one-stop strategy. Trying to make a one-stop work will be very hard, but they could try it though. 11 seconds gap to Matthias is G7, but JJ's doing fastest lap as well. But the fight between Special and Jay is going to be, but at the moment it's not going to give the victory to G7. The victory might be of Mamba or Matthias at the moment, because Mamba's got a penalty as well. Matthias might be on the way, and definitely remember, whoever needs to win the championship needs to win the race minimum, apart from our championship leader, of course, Andy, who's currently in P4, and that's going to get his total to 180 points. That is going to be good. But what about if Mamba wins? Mamba's on 168 points, right? 167 points indeed. 167 points for Mamba that's going to be, and adding his these points at the moment, he's P1. I don't think he's going to win the championship, but even if he does, he is going to be having that. And if he even finishes second, which remember gets you 18 points, or even third if he finishes so far, he's going to be taking the championship by 2 points if my calculations are correct. Mamba is definitely within contention and in the contention for the championship, but rather depends for how long can he have that, and can he maintain that position. I think with that penalty, of course, going against him, G7 at the moment ghosted, not quite sure what happened. There, he's ghosted, not quite sure. Oh, not sure, is his AI in? Because you never know. Not sure whether his AI is in driving or who's driving, because if he's left the session and the AI is driving, that could be going against him at the moment. By the looks of it, the AI might just be driving there, because J7's lost out that, and he's going to be having to retire. He's back in the session, and that is going to be him, all going against him, as with the opportunity of him not in the car, the AI taking over. That is going to be Special. Andy Special going to be taking that second, third place back to himself, and back towards the top of the timings. And I think so far, as it stands for Mamba and for Matthias, they might just want to continue on and try a one-stopper at this point in this race, I think. Do let me know, everyone of you watching, who do you think is going to be taking that championship home? Who do you think is going to be the champion of OWLS Racing League Season 4 tonight? It's the night that we get to decide. We don't get to decide, or rather these drivers need to perform, and the performance needs to decide how good is that going to be the case. But are these performances worthy? Are these performances super amazing to get them a chance, to get them an opportunity for this one, as Jay is in P4 at the moment. He has pitted, his AI was overtaken, he was out of the session, AI overtook, so he's now 1.7 seconds. At one point he was over 1.7 seconds ahead of Andy there, and now I think he needs it. He needs to finish in the best possible position for even the slightest of championship chances. Meanwhile, Jack still continues on in P6 at the moment, and so does Mamba and Matthias. Matthias only 2.3 seconds behind Mamba at the moment, only 10 seconds, but can these 10 seconds be made by Special at this point? Because if what about championship so far? So if the things are 1.8 seconds, so Andy's not going to be finishing inside the top 3. If Andy's going to finish P4, that's going to be his points up to 168 and 12 points. So that's going to be his 180 points to him. And if Mamba finishes in second place, 159 is going to be adding 18 points. Oh, he's not going to be taking the championship. Okay, he's well and clear. So even if he somehow finishes in fourth place, he's still going to be taking the champ. He's not going to be taking the championship at all. Will Mamba? So Mamba needs to win the race minimum to have a chance at the championship, I think. Because he needs it. He needs to be fighting for that. There was some calculation errors, but I think it should be good. So now coming to the end, and you know, inside that cockpit there is definitely somewhat of an heartbeat going under the driver's helmets, and definitely the thing's going to be on it. Over 3 seconds. 3 seconds the gap between Matthias and Mamba, and Mamba really needs that for his race, because 1.5 seconds between Special and G7, and G7's lost the session again. G7 has left the session again, and that might just allow Special to finish in P1, P3, because that him finishing within 3 seconds of him could have just allowed Special to finish outside the top 3, but that's not going to be the case. Oh, that was a lapped car. That definitely freaked us out there a little bit, but I think Mamba, if he's really going to be doing that and finishing 3 seconds ahead of Matthias, so considering that 159 points he'd have with the 7 points added to his championship so far, so that's plus 25 is going to be 184 points for him, and then if we minus out 180 points, even if he finishes, he's going to have 180 points. So he's going to take the championship by 4 points, but only if he wins. Only if he wins. And he's out of this one. G7, after almost looking like he's going to be fighting for the win at one point in this race, and fighting for keeping his championship hopes alive, is going to be out of this one now, and we're going to be moving towards lap 21 out of 20. No driver within 1 second of each other, apart from Jack and Sid. Oh, Jack could be on a good opportunity as well. Jack might be on the opportunity to finish over into P5. But he needs to overtake Jay, but he doesn't actually need to overtake Jay. He just needs to stay within 3 seconds of him, as he's got a 3 second time penalty so far. Meanwhile, moving to the top, there could be a chance between these two. 3.3 seconds, the gap still, and so we're maintaining. So you never know. I think that could be on. So 152 points before this race for Mamba. 7 points added is going to be 159 for him, and 160 points before the race for Andy, but 168 with the 8 points to his. And if he does finish third, 168 and plus 15 points, going to be 183 and 1 point. I don't think fastest lap points are awarded on the new game. Not sure how the structure is, point structure is with the league, but we might be seeing by Mamba win this race by 1 point. We might well be witnessing history here, and witnessing 2008 of Formula 1 all over again, by watching a driver win the championship by 1 point so far. But at the moment, you can't say anything, as we are fighting. Meanwhile, Jay has overtaken his teammate, but over 8 seconds behind Andy there, and Andy coming into this race leading the Grand Prix, but his penalty is still not going to be effective. In fact, at this moment it's not going to be effective. It could have been a comfortable championship win for Mamba, but it's not going to be the case so far. Jack now moves to P4 and P5 with that penalty to Jay. Should be moving to P5. and Mamba is still leading the race by 3.8 seconds as to Matthias, who's 3 seconds behind. And as long as Mamba keeps his penalties within 3 seconds, there should well be no problem in him taking that race lead. Rather, he's already leading into taking that race win. Meanwhile, Jake is ahead of Jay and into P4 out on track as well. Okay, so let's have a look at that championship once more. We're going to have a look at... There we go, yep, it was 152 points coming into the race for Mamba and 160 for Andy. So now that is going to be very handy in terms of this one. So 7 points in that sprint for finishing second for Mamba. That's going to be a good opportunity. And that is 4.2 seconds the gap. And his championship is going to be on the way. So 152 added 7, adding 25 is going to be 184, and 168 adding 15 is going to be 183, and over the line Mamba's going to come home and win the Belgium Grand Prix, the final race of the season, and he should well be taking the championship home as well. By my calculation, he should win the championship by 1 point, and Mamba is going to be the season 4 champion of the world of OWLS Racing League. And Special still maintains P3, P4 for Jack in the end. G7CI finished P4, 5 with J in P6, with Grief in P7, Agent in P8, along with Scrappy in P9. Then these drivers some of them are yet to finish actually. From Grief to the end are yet to finish, apart from Harper. Agent is in P8 with Scrappy in P9. Then comes Stream in the final point scoring positions, but a lot of drivers have penalties, so I'm not quite sure is that going to be about in P11 with Kreki in P12. So over the line, them taking the checkered flag with no who has it, but Mamba might well be on the way, and he indeed should be on the way. He has taken the championship by only 1 point, and definitely I don't think any penalty no penalty to Andy would have affected, but what a performance that is. And already drivers not happy with one another, but look at that. That is going to be your new champion and champion of Season 4. OWLS Esports Racing. Season 4 champion. It's going to be Mamba. He's going to win here in Spa, and he's going to win the championship. He's going to take 2 trophies home tonight. And what a performance by overall so far was by these drivers. Hope you all watching enjoyed all of this action. And it was my first time with all these drivers, but I think it was a decent job done despite having some technical issues. We kept it all together. It was myself, Zabi on the mic. Hope you all really enjoyed it. If you did so, make sure to follow here on Twitch as well as here on Instagram, zabi_on_mic3 as well. And definitely looking forward to seeing this group of people race every weekend very soon. So this was me, and hope you all watching really enjoyed it.